Hi, everyone. We are live in downtown Bethesda, and so thank you so much for joining us. And I wanted to give a quick intro of who I am because I always forget to do that at the beginning of
Yeah.
these. I am Anjali Varma, and so if you're new to the Mompreneur Tribe, welcome. I host this online forum for female entrepreneurs to help you connect and collaborate and hopefully become inspired by one another. And I try to go live once a week, either by myself or with a special guest to provide tips and tools to help you run your business and personal life better. So thank you so much for joining me. And one other housekeeping thing, if you're in Bethesda, I do a monthly meetup, and my next one is on May 24th, which is a Wednesday. We're talking about how to work on your business instead of in it. So would love for you to join us there, and also subscribe to my newsletter for regular updates. Okay, now that all the housekeeping is out of the way, I'm going to introduce you to my friend and fellow mompreneur in Bethesda, Dana Evans of Everly and Monet. And Dana and I have been pals for a long time.
How old is your oldest?
9.
9, yes.
So I came to Dana first, way before I ever owned a business, I guess, as a mom, and she helped me to design my now 9-year-old son bedroom, or at the time, nursery. And then once I started Kidville, we became mompreneur friends. You know, we do a lot of brainstorming together. So I'm really psyched to have Dana here, and we're going to be talking about the topic of pivoting your business. So not only kind of pivoting what you offer, but also kind of more dramatic, like in Dana's case, and like the overall, you know, your overall business model, essentially. So Dana, do you want to give us a little bit of the background of what you used to do and how you know, decided to maybe make a switch?
So I have a store here in downtown Bethesda, and we are going into our 12th year of business, which
Which is amazing.
crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So we've always been a children's or a baby store. So you would come to us for gifts. You would come to us for clothes. You would come to us for furniture and design also, but really we were thought of as like a little gift store here in Bethesda people would run in. And just in the last year, I've officially changed. I've had a whole name change. We've always been Daisy Baby and Kids, and now we are Everly and Monet. Everly and Monet is a play off of my eldest daughter's name. Her name is Ever Monet, and so I kind of played with that just a tad bit. The other children will probably be very upset when they realize.
I've always wondered about that.
Right, that is named off of one child, and I have 3. So that may be something we'll deal with later on. So basically, I took a name just to give us more opportunity. Before we were really pigeonholed into kids and just baby, but people wouldn't think of us for more. And even the kid component, although it was a part of the name, people solely just thought of it for babies. So they wouldn't come to me for a bed or anything like that. So that was part of the shift with the name change. And so now we are no longer just a store. We are a children's design studio. So that was like the big change.
Okay. So really you're not even a store anymore, would you say? Or you are a store and a studio?
I'm a store and a studio, so I still am a store because you can come here and say, Dana, I want to buy this chair or I want to buy this dresser, and I will sell it to you. Very simple and easy. So in that sense, we are still a retail store. We still sell things online, but we are not a store in a sense of come here and grab that baby gift before you go to that shower, or come here and grab this before you go to that bris. That's not where we're anymore. So you can still buy things. So yes, we are a store. And the studio involves my design services more.
Okay. So after 11 years, what made you make the switch? Because it's a pretty big shift to go from being a retail location that just sells product.
Yes.
I mean, you always had a service component,
Yeah.
but can you talk a little bit about how you had the service component, but now it's more of a monetization, correct? And it's more the course, you know, of your business is the service side of it and helping design as opposed to retail.
Absolutely. Well, you know, being an entrepreneur, I think we all know how important business coaches are and things like that. And I know, Angela, you're going in that realm, and,
Yes.
It's so crucial. So about 2 years ago, I got a business coach, and she told me, get rid of everything and just do bedding and furniture. And I was like, are you crazy? No, this is my identity. This is who I am. This is my store. Get rid of Daisy Baby. Get rid of Daisy Baby. What do you mean? That's what people know me as.
Yeah.
And she was she's like, listen, you've got to kind of look through things differently and make this big shift. And so I was nervous about that.
Why did she think you needed to make that shift?
She did it 2 ways. One way she said, what's making you the most money? Is it the onesie
Right.
that's making you the money, or is it the dresser? Is it the dress that's making you money, or is it the bedding? What costs you the most to ship, to get to the consumer? We went through all of those things in very detail. And so at the end of the day, the furniture and bedding made me more money than the onesie. And just to talk about that a little bit more, for those who are store owners or business owners, you have to buy a lot of inventory to be able to have that. And so that inventory sits on my shelves and in my on my books until it's sold. Whereas when I do furniture or bedding, I buy one chair, you look and you sit in that one chair, and then I can order based on that one chair. So I don't have to put the money out front.
Yeah, you don't have to put up front the cost. Okay.
Yeah, so that made a big difference. So that's where she came to that. And then she wanted me to have a name that was a little bit more elegant, that was a little bit more inclusive. So those are the type of things. So that took me a while to get there. But what really helped me to get there is sitting here in my store that I have set in for 12 years and watch people not come in anymore. To physically watch the foot traffic change. It was like night and day. I mean, we used to own women boutiques and everybody came to shop and you brought your girlfriends and you went and got your shoes and it was all that. That day has kind of gone.
Yeah.
You know? It's not gonna be like an activity. Let's go shopping together. That's gone. They're like, I'm gonna buy my Zappos shoes. I'm gonna buy 12 pairs. They're gonna show up at my door. I'm gonna try them on and I'm gonna send back the other ones. The shopping.
So the whole online world has kind of forced you to take a look at your business model, basically, right?
Absolutely.
And the growth of online shopping.
Absolutely.
Okay.
People have changed.
People have changed, yeah. Okay, so she kind of told you that it took you almost a year after that first seed was planted in your mind.
Yes.
Okay, so what were some of the things that you were thinking about in your head, or what was the resistance? Or because I think a lot of us probably know that there is a reason for us to make the switch, but we're scared to do it, or maybe we're resistant to do it. So can you talk a little bit about that inner dialogue and kind of the soul searching?
That was hard because, especially when it's your business, and this is like my fourth kid, so I have a very sentimental attachment to it. But for me, this is survival of the fittest. I've got 3 kids to feed. This is my primary income, and so it needs to work.
Yeah.
And so because it needs to work, I had to figure out something else. I couldn't just sit by and let it die, because if I did, it was going to die. And there are a lot of retailers like me, specifically in the baby business across the country, whose businesses have closed, and I've watched them. And, you know, this industry has changed more, I think, than many others. I don't know why baby particularly has taken such a hit, but an independent baby retail store
doesn't really exist.
No. I'm the last one standing in the state of Maryland. So if you want to see a crib that is not Bye Bye Baby or Babies R Us in the state of Maryland, I'm it.
Wow.
I mean, it's almost that big. I can't think of any other independent. No. So that's huge. That's really huge. But also, am I it because people don't want it anymore?
Right. Right.
Am I the last record store?
Right.
Am I
well,
still
that's
selling
kind of
tapes?
a cool factor, right?
Yeah, right. Unless you're like, Urban Outfitters these days. But,
right, that's right.
Right, that's the selling it. So it was survival, and it was kind of figuring it out and realizing that if I didn't do something big, it wasn't going to be here. And having that gut reaction of, what's it going to be? How am I going to do it? And is it going to work?
Yeah.
But I got to do something. And world has changed.
Okay. So then once you knew that this was probably the direction you had to go into, what were some of the things you did to maybe test the market or to figure out how you were going to kind of move in that direction?
It's funny, I thought about that earlier. There wasn't any testing of the market.
I know. I mean, it's a nice concept. I think most of us don't actually end up being able to do it a lot, right? So you just jumped in.
It was do or die. It was do or die. And I think the big change, in addition to it being from a store to a studio, was getting rid of all the gifts. And I know that was hard. And I'm
not going to lie. Sometimes I wish I could just pop in here and grab a baby gift.
Yes,
and I'm sure you have people who come in sometimes, right?
People do. That is the one thing that people do still come to the door and knock on the door and say, oh, you don't have it. But
it was few and far between.
It was few and far between. It wasn't enough to pay all those bills. And the people who came, who loved it, just didn't come enough to make it happen. And that's fine because, again, it's a different shop. It's a different experience. And that's okay. Also, it wasn't what I loved the most. I mean, don't get me wrong, I could put together a kick-ass gift. But what I loved putting together more was the fabric and the samples and the design. So that was a little bit easier to do, to decide what do I love the most? What can I get the most passion out of? And push it in that direction. So it wasn't a test of the waters. It was just going out and doing it and seeing where the chips were going to fall.
Okay, and usually I try to prep guests ahead of time with some of the questions, but I don't think this was on there. But
Okay.
Dana and I talked a lot before you made the switch on this idea of charging for your services. And I have this issue, I think, too,
Yes.
especially now moving more
Yep.
into a service business. And
Mm-hmm.
as you all know, and I feel like I talk about this a lot, there's so much that you want to provide for free to get your customers in the door. And I provide a lot for free and resources. And then, but at the end of the day, we all are running a business and want to get paid. And
That's right.
so one of the challenging things for you was like, I've been providing these services almost for free all the time. And so how do I start charging and how do we value ourselves and know we're worth it? So can you talk a little bit about that?
I'm glad that wasn't on your question. I'm glad you mentioned
know.
that because that's actually the biggest thing is I was always a store. And if you came into me, I showed you the fabrics. I designed the room. I told you where things should go. I pulled out every fabric. And I'm kind of a giver in the sense, so I don't know when to stop. I'm just giving you it all. And people would say, you need to charge for that. That's design. You should charge for that. And I'm like, I am just trying to get people to come here. I'm not trying to then say, then you have to pay me. I just want you to come through the door. If you go down the street to Pottery Barn, they don't charge you.
Yeah.
It's free. If you walk into Nordstrom's, they don't charge you. It's free. So who am I to do that? So that was a really big push. And I couldn't quite figure it out. And I must say, a really great gal in New Jersey who owns a store called Nestle Baby, she, over some drinks in Vegas, kind of pointed this out to me. But she really said that there's a line. There's a line to, I'm just selling you this chair. This chair comes in 4 different colors. What color would you like?
Mm-hmm.
2, this chair comes in 4 different colors. I'm going to match it to your curtains. I'm going to match it to your carpet. I'm going to match it to your linens. And then I'm going to tell you where this chair should go in your room. That's my line.
That's interesting.
So once I figured out what that line was, I could distinguish between when we're just chatting and when I'm going into my design services. So then it was, how do I pay for that? How do I do that? Well, interior designers seem to be doing well. If stores are doing bad, interior designers seem to be doing well because maybe people want to pay for something a little bit different, a little bit more of an expertise. So I've always designed. I'm calling myself a designer or a decorator. And if you are in my studio, it's $89 an hour. I got that number because I looked at these e-designers online and people, I think I talked to you about someone who came to your house and they looked around and it was about, I think they're about $79 online. I saw a couple of those for about $79 online. So I said, well, if that's E, you don't know who they are. I have a reputation. I've done over 1,000 rooms. I should be able to do a little bit more. So in studio, when you're here, it's $89. But if I go to your home, we can do a package that's $300. That includes me coming in for 1 hour, measuring, doing all of that, and then 2 hours in the studio. So I felt like I could present it in a very good way and ease it into there. This is still a work in progress. This is still getting the voice out to say it. Mm-hmm. This is still getting that out there to be able to do it. But I do think I'm worth it. I give a lot. I care deeply. And I'm good.
Yeah. You're good, for sure. Yeah, you don't have to make that face at the end. You have to practice that.
Right. I am good.
Okay, so one of the things that you did along with that, and you mentioned this in the beginning, was rebranding, which I don't know how critical you thought that was, because some people, I think, want to stay under the same brand umbrella, which may or may not work. But do you think that helped you to kind of create this new voice and this new identity?
Yes. Giving the name change, and again, credit back to, Alicia Kane, who helped me with that, is we did a 1-year transition where we were Daisy Baby and Everly and Monet. And sometimes when we answer the phone, we still do that. We are now at the point where we're just Everly and Monet, but we did a very long transition. And there were things that I didn't know. When we did Daisy Baby, it was the font was very playful and very whimsical, and it was a flower with a smiley face in it. Mm-hmm. So, and that started with, my girls Andrea and Fabiana, who originally started Daisy. They were very shabby chic, and it was a very fun, it was a very girl on a budget, kind of have a good idea. And now I wanted more sophistication, more upscale.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget when she said, a daisy is a cheap flower.
Oh, that's interesting.
I never thought about that. So what connotations are you sending to people? So I don't think you should kill yourself trying to come up with the perfect branding on everything all the time, but branding does matter. The look matter. I changed the font to a less curvy font to no serifs, just very clean.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that transitions. I haven't given myself a specific color so that when gray leaves, I can bring the next thing in. I didn't tie it to a color a little bit, but more to that. So I paid a lot of attention to that, and we just did co-branding for a while.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because when you see somebody's logo or website, you don't necessarily think about all those little things. That every element of your branding is a conscious decision, right?
It is.
So when you're thinking, I think for everyone out there, when you're thinking about rebranding and or launching your new business, you want to think about the colors, the themes, the font, and how you present it, because it really does. It depends on who your audience is.
Yep, it really does. And also, let's say I want to do kitchens one day. I don't want to do kitchens right now, but if I want to, then I'm that sophisticated that people will think of me in that realm.
Right. And so you had to get rid of the daisy and the baby for what you were doing now.
Yeah. It was hard. It was very hard. That was very much about who I was, but we did. And I definitely wanted to get rid of the baby. I want to do kids' rooms. I'm doing like 3 tween rooms right now. And a tween doesn't want to go to a place that's for a baby.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so we kind of talked about this a little bit, but you mentioned that it was a fairly emotional journey to make the switch. And I think part of it is like when you've had a business for a long time, it is your child. Yeah. And so kind of saying goodbye to what it was is kind of sad, right? And I'm putting words in her mouth. So maybe, I don't know if this is all true, so you tell me what is. Also, maybe having that feeling that it's not doing as well as it once did can be kind of sad, right? Yeah. And then also having enough guts to kind of move in a whole new direction has to be emotional. So can you talk a little bit about the emotional part of it?
Yeah.
The real part of it?
The real part of it. I think the real part is retail's dying, and that's really sad.
Yeah.
And for me being a retail brat, like I, left a big corporate job and I wanted to work in retail. Like when I came here and I was in the boutiques, I loved it. And I loved knowing the person's name when they came into the store and having all of that. And that's just not the way people are going to shop anymore. That's not what it's going to be about. They want to look on their phones. They want to go through. They want to press a button. They want to be delivered to their house tomorrow. And so that's lost a little bit of that. So that on its own was very sad and hard to do. And then being here and trying to adjust this new space, not knowing if it was going to work. I mean, literally not knowing if it was going to work. And and it's still building. So right then and there, all those things were hard. And knowing that I didn't have any room to play, I don't have a big loan that's going to, shallow the tough days and do all that and cover it. It's like, you've got to go out, you got to do it, and you've got to grind. You've got to constantly grind, or as Beyonce said, you got to slay. Every day you got to slay.
I mean, you got to quote Beyonce at least once.
I mean, just one time. That just boosts your viewership right there. Right? That's it.
So how has it been so far? What's the customer reaction been? And, what would you say?
I think the customer reaction has been good. I would say it kind of breaks into a couple categories. People who have designed with me and who have known me and have trusted me with their rooms throughout the years are like, yeah, duh. You should have done this a long time ago. You should be right in there. And then there are people who, again, walk through the door and I'm like, you don't have gifts? Right. Oh, and they give you that disappointed look. And I say, we don't. This is what we do. And the Blue House is down the street.
Oh,
Call Connie at the Blue
Support
House.
your fellow
Exactly. Go there. They will have a wonderful, selection for you. Go there. Or if you really want something, baby, go to Don Price downtown and do that. Like really send them in the right directions to people who are specializing in that field here. Then I do think the fee for service is a different thing because that's a new change. And some people who want expertise, not a problem. People who understand the value of being to walk away and be done, not a problem. But this new world is also DIY. And if you want to do it yourself, find it yourself, go to 5 Pinterest boards, go to 7 websites, pull it together, run out to Home Goods, run here, drive to North Carolina, pick up that piece, you're not my client.
Yeah. So it's good to know that, though, right?
Yeah. And that's huge.
Yeah. And then that impacts the messaging that you're putting out there as well.
Yeah. I want people who I want to take care of. If you want me to take care of you, do it for you, collaborate. But if you want to do it all yourself and you know it all and you've read this blog and you've read that and you know it, then that won't be it. I will sell you all the things that you need to go in your room, but we won't be sitting down one-on-one, getting into the grind of it, and doing all the knit and grind of what we really need to do to come up with a great room. And so that makes me know my client. And I think all these things we're reading is know your client, know your avatar, know who you're speaking to, what audience that is. And that's really where I'm gearing to.
So, what would you say to anyone who's thinking about maybe making the switch, either from retail to service or just in general? Do you have any tips for?
You have to do it, and you cannot stay in one space and die. If it has always been this way, and that's the only way you know, but that's not working, you got to do something else. And I know we'll talk a little bit more about blogging or Instagram or any of this other kind of stuff. That's not me. That's not who I am naturally. But if I don't do that, I don't exist.
Yeah.
And so you've got to change. I think about my mom and pop business owners around the country who just have little brick and mortar stores and they're just doing their thing every day. You're going to have to work with the internet. The internet is here. We can't say, I hate the internet, or the internet took all my business away. How can I work with the internet?
Yeah.
How can I, show you something and then say, shop my Instagram feed?
Yeah.
How can I collaborate with them? Because that is where the new consumer is. I was thinking about, I just turned 40.
Happy
and
birthday!
That's right.
Like literally a couple of days ago.
Yeah, seriously. But I'm Generation X. There are 2 more generations after me now.
Yeah.
And so I've got to be able to speak to them because they're going to be my clients, and I just can't let it go.
Yeah.
Because
regardless of what industry you're in,
no matter, I agree with you. It always evolves. I mean, I'm listening to all these podcasts, and the people who've been doing this since podcasting or when
podcasting
started all that, they've seen this shift.
Yeah.
So everything continues to shift, and you have to do that. But I don't want to drive down Wisconsin Avenue and be one of these closed businesses.
Yeah, totally. We just made a major shift at Kidville. After like 7 years, we've moved to monthly billing in the last like 2 to 3 months. And again, that's because I've heard from so many customers is that's what they want, right? And then that's where everyone's kind of moving, and people want to be able to switch around.
Were you a subscription for a whole year?
It was a semester.
A semester.
Yeah, and also we were like, you enroll in this class and that's it. But people want choice, and so we had to do it where now it's like you're paying a monthly fee, but you can pick and choose the classes,
brilliant.
right?
That's brilliant.
But there's a lot of growing pains, and there was a lot of angst to make that decision, and now to communicate it, to train my staff.
Yes.
And also, there are, like, you're going to see dips in your business before you kind of get there again, so that's painful too. So I know, it's tough.
But you saw that things were changing, and you needed to move with the times.
Right. Yeah.
Okay,
so let's talk a little bit about the blogging and Instagram that you mentioned. So, give everyone your blog and your Insta handle because you're so good at it.
So everything is Everly and Monet. And say completely Everly and Monet. So that is my handle on Instagram. That's my handle on Twitter. Not that I really tweet, but I'm there. Facebook, that's what it is. And then the blog right now is at everlyandmonet.com also. And so that's where anyone can find me anytime, and I love it there, especially Instagram. That's where I really have fun.
Yeah. So you've had like a pretty good growth, like a lot of growth on Instagram, wouldn't you say?
I would say I listen to, again, I also feel like learning is important. So I go to Anjali's meetups because I learn. I bring my piece of paper and my notebook and I write it down and I do it because I need to learn, I need to grow, and I need to constantly improve.
Yes.
And
you're
so
good
I listen,
at that. You listen to a ton. Your education.
Right. I got to do my podcast. I got to do all those things. And so one of the people I took a class with Hillary Rushford on Instagram. I did one of her Instagram classes. And, taking the great pictures, making the pictures look good, having the right intro. What does your intro say to you? What is the images you use? Consistent across the board. So I had to call my girl Keon from Yellow Wolf Photography. I'm like,
she did my pictures.
Yes,
she's amazing.
Yes.
Shout out to. Oh, you're there. Hi, we didn't even know you were there.
And Dara and Marnie.
Hi guys.
So I said, Keon, show me how to take a picture. Like, what do I take a picture? And, you go on Instagram and you see these flat pictures with things, and those are called, like, overlay shots.
Yeah.
So how do I take it? Teaching me my camera, teaching me my filter, teaching me how to edit them. And so she helped me with that. And then I looked at other people's feeds, and what is my look? Everyone, at one point was having, like, gray tones or a lot of filters. I want it clean. I want you to see the colors in the fabrics. I want you to do that. So I went for that. I love fabrics. And so someone said, well, take a picture of a fabric a day. And I was like, take a picture of a fabric a day? Like, that's not something people do, right? And that's what I did. And it's kind of art. I know it sounds cheesy.
I totally think it's art.
Okay.
I do. I feel like Instagram.
It's art. And
Yeah.
I do. So I really sit there and I make a mess in my store and my staff helps me and we pull together vignettes and I take a picture and I post a picture of a fabric combination every single day. Every single day at 9:30, I'm going to post. No matter what I'm doing, if I'm eating with the kid, 9:30 p.m. every day. I find the p.m., I guess for me, because my kids go to bed at 8 o'clock. And once they go to bed at 8 o'clock, then, you know, we ramp back up again. So I figure there's other moms who are doing that also.
Have you tested different times?
I have tested different times, and that has worked out. I haven't really done it in split group and done all of that. But even when I was a business on Instagram for a minute, then I changed it because I got scared. But we can talk about that for another thing. But when you did it, they gave you your analysis, and they told you when it was peaking. And so normally that was about my best time. In the mornings, too. And I'll post at 8:30 a.m. also is another good posting time. So I'm just consistent with that. But I try to post every day. I try to go out and make friends with the people in that world. I've gone through your whole Instagram followers and so who's following Angelique? Okay, let me see if I can make friends with those people too.
Oh, that's interesting.
So that's
I
how I
need
do
to do
all
that.
Yeah, go through all that. It's serious.
Do you like go in and comment on a lot of other people's?
Yep, I comment. I also boost people up. So right now, if I can get a good shot of this and I can put that up and say, with Angelique, tagging, Keon took this picture, telling people that, going through that. So I want to uplift the other people in the community.
Yeah.
Meredith did something. Meredith did this, you know, or tagging, you know, I see something organized, tagging Rachel and saying, Rachel, this looks like something organizing. So I really try to uplift all the other, you know, mom bosses in this community. Yeah. With that.
Okay. Any other Instagram tips that you would say?
I think consistency. And it needs to be pretty.
Do you use a scheduler, or you just are on there at 9:30?
I do it at 9:30 every day. I try to prep them up.
Like, you don't use a tool, though?
No, I don't use a tool. You can use a tool for some of the other things like Pinterest and all of that, but for Instagram, I actually schedule. You can now save them a few at a time. So you can kind of go back and, like, act like you're about to cancel it, and they'll say, do you want to save it? So I can save maybe 3 and go back in there, because I also do a grid. So I do...
to see your 9 shot, basically.
So I do that, but I post every other shot. So one shot is going to be the fabrics, one shot is going to be a room, one shot is going to be a fabric. So every other shot is a fabric. So
I think, okay, so let's do a little mini takeaway, because I feel like that always helps. So consistency is key, as Keon has reinforced here. And also the greater picture. So it's not just like like I used to just post whatever, and now I'm like, I have to be very conscious of what my grid looks like.
Very much so.
And the artistic vision. You might not think it's artistic if you go to mine, but like, yeah, you're thinking about it, right?
Very much so. White backgrounds is for me. So if I find a really great picture online, I need to make sure that the background is white so that it also works for me. And then Dara's saying here, comment on other people's feeds. Absolutely. I try to go in there and comment. I try to use industry leaders in there. And whenever I use an industry leader, they will at least like it, or someone will find it that way. And people do also talk about hashtags, and I've been trying to get better with hashtags too in there. I know Angela in the City, am I saying that? Angelica in the City. So she talked about the hashtags and how important that was. So
Dara said commenting on other people's Instagram images of those in your industry helps boost your visibility. I agree.
I really do.
I feel like anyone who comments on my feed, I always click on them to see who they are.
Absolutely.
And so it works the same way on the opposite.
Absolutely.
Right?
That's exactly it.
Okay, and now let's do one more topic before I let you go. This is so fun, so we have to do this again.
Yeah, we do.
Is blogging, because you've been like really good at that. I feel like you and I have both tried to step up our blogging game. It is a pain in the ass.
It is a pain. And it's funny, there are 2 things in the back of my head every week. Is 9:30 a.m., what am I posting on Instagram? And Thursday at 9:30, what is going up on the blog? Like, those are 2 things. So I would say about the blogging, again, someone gave me a couple tips about the blogging, is, because I'm not a writer. I gave speeches my whole entire life. I've always been kind of a oral person, but I'm not a writer. I can't spell. I don't know grammar. You know, if someone hasn't read that thing over, we got problems. So for me, that was tough. But someone just said to me, it should be simple. It shouldn't take any more than like 5 minutes to kind of get your concept together, and an hour to totally write. And then also blogging these days are very photo heavy.
Yeah.
So when someone said that to me, it just kind of clicked. I was like, I can do that. I can do that. So I come up with my theme. I get my photos ready. I also am more verbal, so I speak it into my phone.
Oh,
So I'll use the notes with the microphone and I will talk it out all the way there. Then I will email myself those notes into Word and then I will edit them.
Oh, that's cool. I'm gonna
so that I can
try that.
so that I can try to get that out there. And then again, I've been trying to do it just consistently every day at 9:30. Someone said every week, excuse me, at 9:30 that it becomes like the Cosby Show back in the day, right? Before that was negative. But, every Thursday at 8 o'clock, the Cosby Show came on and you knew when to turn into. And so hopefully my audience is starting to know that I'm going to be there at 9:30. I've had clients say, oh, you didn't blog this week. And I was like, oh, but you're there.
I like that.
So people are starting to see it and do it. And again, we're on a budget. And this is something that I can do to reach my audience that is very clear, very easy, and it also really tells my voice. This is what I'm doing. I'm trying to talk about design. I'm trying to talk about these things. I can't get off on many different tangents that I'm not an expert on. I'm trying to stay in my lane where I'm an expert, but provide value because people will unsubscribe.
But if people are researching you and they're trying to figure out someone to help with their child's room, it shows you as an expert because you're providing all of this insight, right?
Exactly.
So I think that helps. So have you had people say they've come to you from Instagram or your blog?
Yes, I have. I've had 4 clients from Instagram. I had one client in California. I had another girl here in Georgetown who did it, and then I've had other people come in too. So very specifically saying, I like this picture. Can we do this? Or I like this fabric combination. Yeah, that was very great.
So it works.
It really does
work. Social media works.
And I would say from the blog, I normally get at least one potential client saying, oh, I needed to do this, or Dana, can you quote me out this, or I at least get one every week.
Post?
Almost every post.
Dude,
someone
she's a rock
says
star.
something. Someone says something every week. So that's why I'm putting my heart and my sweat, and I'm staying up late because it's something that I really want to make sure I keep doing.
Yeah, so mine goes out today on Tuesdays, and like last night, this morning I had to get up, and it was like, or I'm up until like midnight every Monday night. But I do think that once you start doing it, you get trained. Like my mind, like you were saying, I don't have like a calendar. Like a lot of people recommend doing an editorial calendar. For me, it's whatever's going on in my world for that week. And my brain thinks that way, where it's like, you know what? I could spin this in a business way to make it a good blog post. So I feel like you start to train yourself.
I start to think about it. I sit here with my staff, Freya, and Anissa, and we write down what are all the potential blog topics we can talk about and what are we going to do that week. And then they sit here and transcribe with me and help me knock out my bullet points to get it done. So now it is the whole studio. We're all working together to get this done and to make sure that it goes out. And, we're so excited when it goes out. I mean, when it goes out, I'm excited. When we get a comment back in, it's really good. And those help boost your SEO and all of that. Yeah. So I'm always telling people, just make one comment. Just say one thing, in there so other people can find it.
Yes. Yeah. And there are on Instagram these pods now, too, that, you can, join groups so that you have friends who are commenting always to help you boost. So
yes. Having a group to help you do all that. That's
exactly. Okay, let's look at some of our comments here.
So good to see our friends.
I know. Oh, right. So Keon's saying Insta stories.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about Insta stories.
So Insta stories, again, I'm always listening to these thought leaders in the community and what they're saying about that. And so live, what you're doing live is really huge and what everyone's doing. So I've been trying to go live a little bit. I've done some room tours recently and going to clients' homes. So that's really important. So with Insta stories, I've been using it casually. I've been using that to show me with the kids at the park or something like that. A lot of people use it as a business tool to kind of say, this is what I'm doing right now, or showing rooms. I haven't utilized it like that yet, but I think we should try more with Insta stories and with video. I think that's the other big thing is with video.
Oh, well, speaking of video, Dana and I have an awesome video that she provided tips I don't know, a couple years ago at this point. But go and check it out on my YouTube. I'll post the video, but it's on designing a child's nursery. She gave some really good tips. And I think for Insta stories, for me, what I found is I do try to be a little more I don't know what the right word is, but think a little bit more and be a little more artistic in my Instagram feed. So anything that I think I come across that's cool or related to my business that isn't necessarily of that.
Right, it fits into your squares.
Yeah, it doesn't fit in the squares. That's where the Insta story is huge. And I think providing all sorts of context in your daily life, some people go a little overboard, but I think it's kind of a good way to kind of show, here's what we have new in the studio today, or, here we're at this client's house, XYZ. So it's a little more informal and behind the scenes.
And behind the scenes. And I will say about Insta Stories, because I'm always multitasking, so I got to do 12 things at once. And the one thing about Insta Stories is that if you just turn it on, they just keep going and going and going.
Yes.
So you get to see all these people's things. And so if you look at Angelica in the City, I mean, she's got like 75 of them, but you really can see all of it. And when I look at the other thought leaders in design, they have tons of them, and they're showing the whole process step by step. I think Rachel Rosenthal is doing a good job from Rachel & Co. because she is doing like really good before and afters and doing that. I also think
for organizing.
Yeah. She does it very good. She shows we're doing the garage today. This is what it looked like before. This is now what it looks like after. Because also those projects complete.
Exactly.
They go in today and they finish it in that day. And then I also think
which would be the same for you in a nursery or a child.
See, my process is a little bit longer. I could do a little bit of the before and after, but it's a little bit of a longer design process. Sometimes with the installs, it gets all done in one day, but it's normally over time. I also think Meredith from Frame Avenue, she does a great job with her Insta stories. She goes in, she shows the frame, she goes out, she shows the blank wall when she gets there, then she shows it all hung up, and she seems to be using the right thing. I get confused with all the stickers and all of that, but I definitely think that I can then just sit on my computer and I'll just, let it go through while I'm doing my makeup or whatever it is. So I think that's also the benefit.
Yes, of the Insta story. Yeah. And then it goes away. So even if you don't do a great Insta story after 24 hours, it's gone.
You can also save it and then reuse it.
Yes.
I think that's something I learned from you guys a long time ago at one of your meetings, is reusing your content.
Yeah, I do
pushing
that
it back in and present it new all over again.
Well, because ideally you're continuing to get new followers, so repurposing over and over. Okay.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah, so let's see what else here. And I think, and Keong's saying behind the scenes, which I think is huge. Like, people want to see kind of the real deal, and that's why Insta Stories is really good, too.
Yes.
And Keong does an awesome job in her photo shoots.
She does.
Of showing kind of like, like the setup of it and the before and after, kind of the before and after as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so do we have any other comments or questions out there for Dana and about pivoting your business, blogging, Instagram? As you all know, as I know, a lot of you watch this live, and then a lot of you watch it after the fact. So if you comment, Dana and I, we'll be checking throughout the week, and we can get back to you on any questions that you might have after the fact too. If you're in Bethesda, come visit Dana's design studio, Everly M&A on Del Rey, and what I call the old side of Bethesda.
The old side, yes. Marnie, I will see you at pickup.
It's the small Bethesda mom world.
Oh my gosh, it really is. It really is. But it's funny because we've all been here for so long.
I know.
We've been here for so long. I mean, Marnie, we thought about her doing our website when we first launched Daisy Baby all these years ago. So it's like, those are
Marnie
the
did
people. Did she? Oh, that's so funny. So it's like, this community has been here, and these moms have been here that support us. And, back to a little bit of a sad side, I still think it matters. I still think, this community matters. So you want to be able to have your local coffee shop and your little baby store and your little gift shop and, the place you take your kids for games and for classes. You want to have places that people can go. And I think if Bethesda loses all that and we just become big chain stores, it's going to lose a little bit of its vibe. And that's really sad. And I know we all love Amazon. I know it's all so convenient, but there's something about local that matters. And I don't want to beg people, because if it's not in your original wheelhouse to say, I want to support a local business, then don't come. But if you do want to see us here, we need you, we need your friends, and we need that to kind of be here. And you have to make an effort. You got to walk 2 more steps to shop local. It may be a little bit more of an inconvenience, but I think the overall message of what's going to happen is important.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Keong is asking about stats.
Oh, stats. Okay, so I'm horrible at doing this. I check the stats of my email newsletter that go out for sure, and I could tell like click-through rates and open rates, and like I'll know if a topic isn't as whatever. But I'm horrible about the Google Analytics. Marnie, we need you. We need to do one of those.
Yes, actually.
And Instagram, I don't even know how to check stats.
So if you become an Instagram business, which I think is still controversial now, if you want to become an Instagram business, because if you do, then will it become like Facebook pages and you can't get in front of anybody?
Yeah.
So that's me being nervous about it. So I decided to hold back a little bit more. But when you do that, you can see your analytics. There are also outside programs that you can kind of buy or go to maybe for free to see that in apps.
Yeah.
And then for the analytics on the emails, I must be honest, I was scared to look at them for a long time. Like, I had to turn off the unsubscribe list. Like, I can't see the unsubscribe.
Oh my God, I know. I got one today, and I
like,
get all bummed out about it.
So I stopped looking at it. When I listen to these podcasts, people are saying when they write books, they don't read their Amazon reviews because it makes them feel bad. I don't read it. I don't want to know who unsubscribed. If you don't want to talk to me anymore, don't be my friend. But I do need to look and see who's opening, because I am shocked at who opens my emails who I haven't seen in 10 years.
Oh.
I haven't seen them in 10 years, but they open every email. So
that.
What does that mean? What are they still want something from me? Am I not providing it? So I try to look at that a little bit more now. And then also, there are people who are there who aren't reaching out. And Kiyong is great for this, because she just reaches out to people and just says, hello, how are you? And that's not my natural thing. So now I'm saying, hello, how are you, more often, and maybe saying there's a reason they opened my email, but they didn't come into the studio. So I need to kind of speak to them. So I've been doing that a little bit more.
Well, and that's why having a weekly newsletter, you are kind of doing that, right? Like, you're like, I'm popping up again. Don't forget about me.
Yeah. And
then I'm in your Instagram feed.
Exactly. And then I have a Squarespace site that provides analytics, but I've been listening to things, and it seems like Google Analytics is a lot deeper. So I finally have installed last night, or the night before my last email, the Google Analytics thing in there. So I'm really interested to do that, because again, about pivoting your business, I think when I changed my business, I got better with social media, I got better with blogging, and so I also got better with trying to look to see why people are coming. How long are they on a page? Are they leaving my page? Are they confused by my website? Do they know what I do? Do they understand that? So I'm trying to dig into that a little bit deeper to make sure I understand those analytics. But now that becomes one more thing I need to do on my to-do list, is now spend a day to analyze the analytics. But that's going to be a key thing to really knowing if we're really speaking to the audience.
Yeah, and to know if you're doing right. Going, okay, so we ran way over in our Facebook Live, because Dana and I could chat all day. But we'll do another one. I think we can figure out a different topic, and we'll do another one together. And so definitely comment and let us know if you have any other questions. Visit Dana online at Everly and Monet, and then also you can come stop by her store, which is where we are right now. Maybe at the end I'll do a little quick span to show everyone your cool digs, right? And would love to see you next week. I'm not quite sure what my topic is. I would love to hear from you on some topics that you want to hear about. And actually, in my email newsletter this week, I wrote in there, if you're local, even if you're not, I could figure it out. But if you're local and you have an idea of something that would be cool to chat about on this Facebook Live, in this forum, I would definitely love to hear from you, because maybe we can set something up. And because like most people, I'm looking for content like everyone else, right? So okay, great. Well, thank you, Dana.
And thank you for calling me and having me come and do this. It really meant a lot. And it was actually nice to talk about all this stuff. There's really no place to talk about it positively.
No, it's like therapy.
It is like therapy.
Okay, guys, we will see you next week. Thanks for tuning in.